Another haunted doll story. You don't want to watch this one at night. I am back with
like if somebody was dying or in pain, okay? And
the story of Jean Dulac and his evil doll. So in the early 1900s,
he had purchased a doll for her daughter Christmas of 2024. So my
videos that will make you think twice about buying dolls.
No, stop chewing, stop. Oh my god, I'm getting scared. Stop it, stop it, stop it. Oh my god, I think I broke it. Oh my god, give it back, give it back, give it back. Oh my god. Stop. Stop it. I need to take it off. Give it back. Oh my god, it's in her now. Why did it do this?
I love the sound. I love the sound. Esta tacita rosita y esta tacita como fucsia. Huevo, ¿sí?
Can we kiss you better? You okay, baby? Oh.
Please, I don't have any time for any gossip now. Eh? Yes.
Look at you.
Do something with it.
It's just money coming to me easily. Money coming in and needing me. Money coming in repeatedly. Money coming, it's just money coming. It's just money coming to me frequently. Money coming in to be with me. Money coming in secretly. Money coming, it's just money coming. It's just money coming to me easily. Money coming in all day. Money coming in all pay. Money coming, it's just money coming. It's just money coming to me frequently. Money coming in to be with me. Money coming in secretly. Money coming, it's just money coming. It's just money coming to me easily. Money coming in and needing me.
if you guys were here from the last video, I showed you guys I lived in this house for about 5 years on 2nd Street. It's 238 North 2nd Street. I don't know who owns it now. I don't know who lives there. Whenever I drive by it, it's the same like abandoned van that's on the side of the house. To the story. Circa 2003, 2004, my aunt, who's like my favorite aunt, she used to take care of old people, and she had a person that she was their personal assistant, and they had a lot of collector's dolls. My aunt saw this doll. This is not my doll, but this is the same doll, same dress, okay? Same collection. This is her. She gave it to me as a gift. I don't know if it was for my birthday or for Christmas because I just don't remember. I looked at the doll and I took her out for a moment just to look at the insides of the, you know, what's in there. Like, I've never had a collector's doll. She was porcelain and she had like adoption papers with her. I put her back into the box and I said, this is gonna be one of those dolls that I don't play with. She's too pretty to take out the box. It didn't happen right away, but I just always had her in my room, and just she was special to me because she was given to me by my favorite aunt. And then everything started. I started seeing her look at me. So I would just be in my room vacuuming and I can see the doll like just staring at me. And if you don't physically see it, it just feels like she's just looking at you, okay? There were a few people that would come to my house and would tell me, out of all the dolls that I had in that room, whenever I had guests over, they would just leave crying because that doll just moved its face, or it looked like it smiled, or it moved its head. But I have had cousins like crying to their parents to pick them up and leaving because of her. So I just never looked at the doll in the face. I never looked at any of my dolls in the eyes. That house was so bad that I would, whenever I was brushing my teeth, I would just look down. Like, it was bad. It was so haunted. Like, you always saw shadows, or you always saw something. There was always something happening, and you got used to just looking down, okay? My mom still worked in Jersey because we had only lived there for a few years, and my mom wanted to work where my aunt worked and take care of old people in Jersey. So weekends we would leave PA and, you know, go spend time at my cousin's house when my mom was at work. This part I wish my sister was here to tell, because this is the one that she just reminded me of. We left. We were probably gone for 2 days, and when we came back, the Catherine doll was at the bottom of the stairs. So you walk in, we always walk into the kitchen, you go through the living room, and you see a staircase. The doll was just at the bottom step, just in her box, but just sitting at the bottom of the stairs. My sister was crying because she thought I pranked her. And I started crying because I'm like, I don't touch this doll. I don't touch her. Trust me, it was not me. And my mom was already going through it, and my dad with that house. So of course they weren't gonna prank us like that. And I can assure you, because my mom put me in therapy, because at first they were trying to gaslight me into thinking it was just all in my head. That's another story. But they were trying to protect me, which I understand now, but they were trying to gaslight me like, look, it's all shadows. It's just, you know, the wind. But nobody can explain why that doll was at the bottom of the stairs. After maybe a few months, we started to notice that the doll's eyes were just turning red. I don't mean to be funny, you guys, but I'm talking about like that kind of red, okay? Like just blood red. And then things would get weirder. Like it just became more like a sinister feeling versus like, I'm just not gonna look at you. Now it just became like, I would never go into that room now. Now it's to the point where I am sleeping with my brother on his bed. I don't know if there was an entity in that doll, if that's what was causing a lot of this, but that doll was not right. So now for the finale, I told my cousins who lived across the street about this doll, and I told them like, hey, the doll's eyes are turning red. And it's not like it was just red to the children, or like if it was turning red sometimes. It was red even during the daylight. Like when other people would see it, they would just be like, ew, get that doll away from me. My mom was like, throw it away. And I wanted to throw it away, but I was scared. I didn't want to scare my mom or anything, but I just didn't want it to be mad at me. I felt like I had a connection to our family, and I felt like it was going to be mad and then hurt us. My cousins across the street and some of the kids on the block actually came over, and this is the part that they tell me, and their story to this day does not change. My brother, my cousin, and maybe like 2 or 3 of the neighborhood kids take the doll and they take it to my backyard. I used to tell this story and cry, and I can't cry anymore because it's just God, you know, I got God. They put the doll in a bag, and they're boys. They were being boys. They were being 11, you know. They started kicking the doll, kicking it, and just saying mean things to it because they thought it was funny. And I'm not gonna recreate the sound that they said that it made because it's freaking creepy. But when they make the sound, it's like disgusting. But just it was like a demonic deep groan. So think of like a man's deep, like if somebody was dying or in pain, okay? And it was just groaning like if somebody was dying or in pain, okay? And it was just groaning I don't want to do, it's just disgusting and it's creepy. That happens. I will never forget this part. They all ran to me and my mom, screaming and crying and trying to speak about what just had happened. My mom was just like, oh my God. Like, so she calls my dad and she's like, hey, the boys are freaking out. Could you do something about this doll? And my dad's like, yeah, just leave it in the bag. It's in the backyard, right? Yeah. My dad worked at Hatfield Quality Meats. He worked second shift. And he had came home and there was no doll and there was no bag. Yeah, so that's just one story. If you guys enjoyed this story, and let me know if you want to hear the rest of them. All right, bye.
That doll thinks she's slick because she needed to be kicked around a couple times before she decides to leave permanently. Because what do you mean? And one thing I have to say too is that those kids should be glad that she did not do more damage to them, because what do you mean you were kicking her around like a rag doll? Although that's what she was, but why kicking her around? Because she could have taken y'all's feet, taken y'all's legs, right? So anyways, guys, let's get to the next story. Another haunted doll story.
you don't want to watch this one at night. I am back with another spooky story. And this is my first submission from the Philippines. Let's get into it. We're gonna call the person who submitted the story May. Hi, my name is May from the Philippines. I've been listening to your story since last year and I want to share mine too. It's about a doll that her aunt gave her from Malaysia. So for background, she was 9 years old at the time staying at her aunt's place. So at the time, her aunt had just came back to the Philippines after working in Malaysia. So all her children were grown up, so she decided to give May this life-size baby doll, which the doll was previously owned by her employer's daughter who previously, unfortunately, passed away. Now, May says that she's seen a lot of things when she was a kid. An albulario, I'm sorry if I butchered that, but that's a traditional healer, and they told her that she had her third eye open. But then as a kid, she was just happy. She had a little gift, none to it. So fast forward to her aunt giving her this doll. The doll was as big as a toddler and it talks. It would say, "Mommy, mommy, I love you," whenever you push its buttons at the back. At first it was fine. May loved it. But one night she was awakened because she heard someone talking. She was sleeping with her aunt and the aunt is a light sleeper, so she woke up too. They went out to the living room and they saw the doll walking around saying, "Mommy, mommy, I love you," over and over and over again. So May says, "I know my aunt already knew that there was something wrong because she too is superstitious. So immediately she turned off the doll, took out its batteries, and her aunt told her just go back to sleep. But the doll's voice would just linger in her mind for the rest of that night. Morning came, it was Tuesday, garbage day. She saw her aunt put the doll inside of a plastic bag and give it to the garbage man. May was relieved because she knew that that doll wouldn't bother them anymore. Or so she thought. The night came and May fell asleep again beside her aunt. She woke up in the middle of the night hearing the same voice of the doll that her aunt just threw away this morning. So May slowly got up, into her absolute horror. She saw the baby doll at the corner of the bedroom saying, "Mommy, mommy, I love you," over and over and over again. Goodness gracious, that scene still gives me goosebumps still now. May starts hysterically crying as she is just shrugging and shaking in her aunt's arms. And finally her aunt woke up. And as soon as she woke up, she grabbed the doll, she smashed it on the floor, and it's still repeating it like a broken radio. Like a broken radio, the doll kept repeating, "Mommy, mommy, I love you." So the aunt just gets to stomping this doll out. She's just like smashing it. And she's repeating, "In the name of Jesus, in the blood of Jesus." And then finally, the doll stopped. Later that morning, she decided to burn the doll and throw the ashes on the abandoned house besides theirs, where she says she's seen a lot of things, but that will be for the next entry. Yeah, go ahead and send. May says, "I am 22 right now, and to this day, I could never forget that incident. I have never looked at dolls the same way again. Our pastor once said that dolls could be a vessel for spirits." That will be all for now. Thank you. I love you lots. I love you too, girl. That was a good one. Thank you for submitting. Yeah, send me the other stories. If you're not already, make sure you're following me on Instagram. We go through this every week, y'all. Please. And of course, for longer, better, and spookier stories, you better make sure you're subscribed to my YouTube channel. Anyway, I love you, my abducted human. Your favorite Haitian homegirl.
My picture of my mom and the whole ghost in the background is going viral, so I thought, why not share more paranormal shit that I know and experienced in my life. When I was younger, my grandmother was the manager of a building that we used to live in, and it was so old, it used to be a hotel, like way back when it was first built. Going towards the roof, there is a little storage unit. We just basically call that the attic. In the attic, my grandmother was like finally clearing things out. There was a bunch of stuff from the previous manager in there, and who God knows who else will put shit in there. Grandmother finds a doll. It was like those stuffed dolls, kind of like a voodoo doll. Not saying that it was, I'm just saying that, you know, have you ever seen like those little dolls? Had black hair, black dress, black buttons as eyes. So my grandmother was like, what the fuck? Immediately got the creeps from it. So she brings it down, she's showing it to everybody, and we're all creeped out. We're like, what the hell is that, right? So somebody told my grandmother to burn it. Me and I want to say like probably like 10 other people were a witness to this. She's trying to burn this fucking doll, and the doll will not burn. The fire is going on, but the doll isn't fucking burning. It wasn't until like 5 to 10 minutes into like the doll burning that it started to catch on fire. The worst part is when it finally did, that fucking doll sat up. Like, it slowly rose up and just sat there while it fucking burned. And it took a very long time for it to go away. By going away, I mean like the burnt stains that stay on the floor. Like, I think it was there for like 2 years. Yeah, that's one of my many very creepy stories.
So the possessed doll that I had that ran across my bedroom floor, I already told this story time back in 21 or 22, but I'm gonna just give you a Cliff Notes version. My mom had a sister that gave me this doll. And for the lack of a better example, it was kind of like the size of a My Buddy doll, like from Chuck, but it was black and it didn't look like a Chucky doll. Like, its hair looked at like, you know when you get a relaxer and then you go in the water and your new growth reverts back to its original texture, but the rest of your hair that still relaxes bone straight. And the doll face was so symmetrical, it looked uncanny. And this was one of my mom's 7 sisters, because she has 7 sisters and 2 brothers. Long story short, she gave me the doll because her daughter didn't want it. Red flag number 1. And I remember the doll smelled like Blue Magic grease and Fritos. And I got bad vibes from it the whole time. And my grandma and mom just thought I was being ungrateful. And I would think now looking back at it, they could sense it since they were, you know, their third eyes been open, psychic as fuck. But no. And for several nights, it would give me such bad night terrors. Finally, my mom got tired and they put it in the closet. However, when it was put in the closet, I kept on looking towards the closet, and my grandma used to snap at me and she'd be like, stop looking into dark. Because she always said, you know, you look into certain type of darkness long enough, something's gonna stare back at your bitch. Long story short, a couple nights go by and I think I'm fine, right? The doll comes out of the closet. It's on the right side of me, right? By the window on a shelf. And I can just feel it looking at me, and it was like so dark in the room, but I could see the white of its eyes just looking at, because they were buttons, obviously. So finally, I get to sleep, hyperventilating and Suddenly, after I get into like the REM sleep, something like jolts me up. Bitch, I open my eyes, and it's like my eyes were accustomed to the dark at that point. But however, you know when you're in dark, but you can sense movement around you? That's what it felt like. And the movement was at the end of the bed. I look over and I realize the silhouette I can't make out of the doll is not to my right side anymore. As I'm realizing it's no longer on the side of me, I realize the energy, the movement I'm feeling in the dark is at the end of the bed. Bitch, I slowly start to sit the fuck up. And remind me, I'm a little bitch at this. And if you've never looked in darkness and you can make out silhouettes, you won't know what I'm talking about. I could literally like just sense the movement in the darkness and its silhouette. And I'm like, this shit is really fucking happening. Which is why I'm one of those people, I believe everything. There is nothing so outlandish that can't happen on this earth. And I'm like, what do I do? Do I jump out of my bed, make a run for it? But at this point, the floor is lava. I'm not getting on the same floor with that bitch. And if you don't know, you won't understand, but my mouth was open, but nothing was coming out. Have you ever been so scared where you're trying to scream, but the sound isn't there? It's gone. Then at some point, the scream must have came out because my mom and granny came in. They rush in, they see the doll on the floor on some Toy Story shit. My granny takes the doll and she puts it in a back room. She was a hoarder, so that was a back room we never went into. And she threw salt. We lived there for another 7 years and that door was sealed off and never opened. Which is why I don't fuck with those possessed Annabelle type movies. I don't do those possessions or those possessed doll type horror films. Everything else, yeah, but no. And to this day, I have spirit seeing elders and seers and all that stuff. My mom and a lot of them still think it was a fever dream I was having.
November 16th, a collector that I know posted on Instagram that he had a couple of dolls and they had convinced him that the paranormal was real.
Paranormal activity happening even after seeing the dolls. Poltergeist activity.
Can you tell us your name, please?
I'm trying to show you some respect, and we want to respect you even further by giving you a name.
Can you tell us your name?
Oh my gosh!
The owner of the dolls wanted to keep them. He wanted to keep them in his collection until he realized the situation had got out of hand and he was no longer able to keep them in his house. I first talked to Ryan Matthew Cohen on November 16th. He brought the dolls home and he was photographing them for his upcoming book. After he moved the dolls, this is when the situation started to get out of control. They had their own spot in a room. He moved them to be photographed. At this point, nothing had happened. He does admit that he may have insulted them in some fashion. After he moved the dolls for the photos, he put them back where they were. Their mouths fell out. Now, if that isn't a creepy enough visual alone, things continued to happen. He repositioned them and he secured them so that that wouldn't happen again. Now, if you're familiar with his collection, he is a collector of antiquities, and I'm talking about things that are hundreds of years old and from all over the world. And of all things to affect him, these dolls. For me, that's super compelling as an investigator for somebody who has all of these things in his collection, but the dolls bother him. So he does collect hands, and he had just set up this antique pair of hands, and within a few hours of putting the dolls back and securing them, the hands come crashing down and broke one of their heads. This is just the beginning of the things that had happened. This is when the business trouble starts to happen. We start to see situations happening like in 30 years of selling, he had never shipped something to the wrong address. The misfortunes just started piling up to the point where it could no longer be a coincidence. I told him, hey, I understand if you want to send the dolls my way, I will absolutely take them, but he wasn't ready to let them go yet. They were very personal. He wrote about them in his book. He was allured by the idea. As someone who had been a skeptic his entire life, these dolls are now convincing him that the paranormal is something more than fiction. For someone that works with museums and to never have believed in the paranormal, we've talked about this before, to believe through these objects, I can understand why that was important to keep around. About a month went by before I heard from him again. I assumed that everything was okay. He apologized to the dolls. I told him set some boundaries, let them know they can stay in your house. You have good intentions, but they can't break things. At midnight, a few weeks ago, I get a message that said, I need these dolls gone. It is an emergency. I said, absolutely, I will help you. I will help sever the connection with these dolls, and you can send them my way. He explained to me that his car broke down in an event. Now, I can't imagine the stress of promoting an event and having to have your car jumped outside. They have another car, which is relatively new, and it started smoking on a trip to New Jersey. On the trip back from New Jersey, where they had to do a ride share, he messaged me. I figured, you know, maybe after the hype died down, I wouldn't hear from him in the morning. He said, I'm going to bed, and this has just been one travesty after another. In the morning, I heard from him. I said, you know, you need to take the dolls outside, create the salt barrier of protection. Do not bring them back inside the house after you do this, and just let go of them. He shipped them to me. He did a cleansing ritual. He's taking care of himself, but that is where the dolls came from. So when I say I believe the story, it's because it's coming from someone who's been a skeptic their entire life, has absolutely no motive to push this. I do talk about this in their upcoming book in detail, but he truly wanted to keep the dolls and he wanted to give them a good home. The only movement we've really seen is their mouths kind of seem to move, and I think it's just like a sliding motion, but we are monitoring them. They are still very new. I know you guys are expecting a ton of activity. It's going to take time. I am safe. I am protecting myself. We do keep these in a different area. They are not in the office space with any other objects. I don't want to mess up the evidence. I know a lot of you are also wanting names for the dolls. We can't just make that up. I had someone come today, so if some of you are familiar with my friend Kalani Ghost Center, we investigated for a few hours. We tried to get some results on the name. He does have a video coming out about what we found. We did get some pretty interesting results, so. Thank you all for the support and love and caring about the dolls and understanding that we need to approach these things with empathy and compassion. That keeps me safe. I'm keeping myself safe, but it keeps me safe when you guys are mindful when we talk about this stuff.
So y'all, this story happened in Chicago. I just seen this. So the lady had purchased a doll for her daughter Christmas of 2024. So mind you, she told the ex-husband what the daughter wanted for Christmas. So he was like, okay, I'm gonna get it. So the ex-husband ended up getting a baby doll for the daughter. So when the little girl got it for Christmas, you know, mind you, they say it was like about 3 months up until she got it for Christmas. So this was March of this year, 2025. So she said she was noticing like strange things happening with her daughter. So she was like, the daughter would get the baby doll, bring her in the bathroom, you know, let her take a bath with her. She said then she would get the doll, bring the doll outside. You know, everywhere they go, she take the doll with her. So she was like, one day, she was like, the daughter was in the room talking, sitting at her little table. And she was asking her, she was like, Amy, who you talking to? And she was like, I'm talking to Anna. So she was like, who is Anna? She was like, my close friend. So the mama was like, okay, I'm not, paying it no mind. You know how kids just have their imagination. She was like, okay. So she was like, that what made me really start paying attention to her. So she was like, she was fixing her some juice in the kitchen. And she was like, the daughter was talking down as if like it was somebody standing with her. So she was like, Amy, who you talking to? And she was like, my friend Anna. So mind y'all, that was 2 times, y'all. She talking down as if the person was there. So y'all, I'm coming back with part 2. Y'all want to hear this story? I'll be back. Make sure y'all like, share, comment, because this story is crazy and scary. And TikTok, this is for entertainment purpose only. Mind y'all, this is part 2 to the Amy and the Anna story. Y'all remember in part 1 when I was telling y'all that the mom and the dad had purchased Amy this doll for Christmas of 2024. Now mind y'all, Amy been doing strange things in the house, like not really strange, but she been talking to the doll as if it's a human being. So the last part what I left off, when they ended up in the kitchen when the mom was fixing up some juice and the mom was asking Amy, who you talking to? She was like, Anna. So mind you, the mom got Amy and a doll, Anna, set him on a sofa and was like, Amy, I need to ask you something. Sweetie, I need to talk to you about Anna. What's going on? And she was like, yeah, mommy. And she was like, how long have you been talking to the doll? And she was like, ever since y'all bought it for Christmas. And she was like, so this how long you been seeing her since the doll came in the house? And she was like, yes. She was like, yeah. And the mom was like, is she telling you to do harmful things? And she was like, no, she's real nice. She just want to play. And she the same age as me. She's 7. And so the mom was like, okay. So the mom was asking Amy, like, where do she come from? And so the Amy was like, she been here all along. Like, she always been here, but she said she coming through the doll. And so the mom was like, been here coming through the doll? And she was like, yeah. And so she was like, Amy, so the mom was asking Amy, is you the only one that could see her? And Amy was like, yeah. Yo, this is crazy because they purchased this doll for the daughter. Mind you, the daughter never was doing the type of things that she doing, like talking to the doll as if it's a real person. And so Amy is saying that she didn't start seeing none of this going on or seeing the little girl until the doll actually got there. And so for Amy to tell her mom that the little girl said she just wanted to play, could it be a spirit that's in that house, or is a spirit that came with the doll? So the mom is saying that she have to find out what's really going on. So the mama was like, she ended up calling the ex-husband, telling him about what's going on. Like, hey, where did you purchase this doll from? I need to see, because now Amy, she's not doing crazy things, but she's actually talking like she's speaking with somebody. So, yo, I'll be back with part 3. Please don't miss part 3. I know y'all been tagging me for part 2. I just gave y'all part 2. I'll be back with part 3 probably tomorrow, most likely. And TikTok, this is for entertainment purpose. I'm only on here to spread awareness to my friends. And y'all remember to share, like, comment, and repost. Y'all don't want to miss part 3. Y'all, Wait till y'all find out where the doll come from. Bye, y'all.
You know those creepy ass, fuck ass porcelain dolls? Well, I had a haunted one, and I'm gonna tell you that story. Actually, when I was a child, I loved those porcelain dolls. I did not think they were creepy at all. I fucking loved them, and I had like over a dozen. Here's the receipts. My dad and I had a tradition where every time we went on a hunting trip out west, he would stop at an antique store or something and get a porcelain doll and bring me one home. It was like our thing, and I loved it every time. I had a little shelf right above my bed, and I lined them up on the shelf, and I played with them like actual dolls. But every time I had a friend come over, they would be like, what the hell, Hannah? This is creepy. You like these dolls? And they would never play porcelain dolls with me. We always had to use like Barbie dolls because they were weak. So everyone else thought they were creepy, but I didn't, okay? I sincerely loved them. One year, I was probably around 7. My dad came back with a haunted doll, and she was the prettiest yet. Gorgeous. She was like a fairy. She had this beautiful light blue tulle dress and like perfect auburn ringlets that like cascaded down. They were so long, and she had like a flower crown and vines and flowers like twirling up because she was on a swing, so they were twirling up the swing strings, okay? And she was sitting there like da-da-da-da-da on this little swing, and the instant I laid eyes on her, I was like, fuck that shit! Get rid of it, Dad. I don't want it. And my dad's emotionally immature, so he took that personally, and he was like, absolutely fucking not, and hung it in my room. I was like, please, 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 just get rid of it. Please, please, please. I don't want it. Thank you. Thank you. No, thank you. Can you donate it maybe? Like, please, I don't want this doll, Dad. And he was like, fuck you. I'm hanging it in your room right next to your bed. And I was like, okay, that's great. I was an extremely imaginative child, and let's just say I trained myself to wake up with my eyes closed, and I would wake up in the morning with my eyes closed. They would not open, and I would be completely stock still, pretending I was still sleeping, and I would peel my eyes open like a freaking millimeter so I could watch this doll, because she was on a swing hanging from my ceiling, right? And she would literally just constantly be swinging a fucking around all the time. She never stopped swinging, okay? And I was scared of this freaking doll, okay? So it was my job. My life was on the line. So I woke up and I watched her, and I timed it so that I could rush the fuck out of bed and get out of my room and exit. I would make my mom get my clothes ready with me the morning before and put them outside of my room, and exit my room without her making eye contact with me. I felt like if she looked at me, I would be dead. That's it. My life is over. So I had to time it so she was like facing away from me the entire time I was exiting the room. And I got really good at that. And I stopped going in my room. I stopped like inviting friends over into my room. Like, it was a whole thing. Like, literally on a nightly basis, I was begging my parents, please get rid of this doll. I fucking hate her. And my mom was sympathetic, but my dad is not. My dad makes the rules. So the doll stayed, and it tortured me for literally months. Months of my life ruled by this freaking doll that I was very convinced was trying to kill me all the time. But eventually, I guess I wore my parents down because I literally was incessant in my begging. And my dad took it down, and I was like, hallelujah. And I was like, please? I went and talked to my mom, and I was like, please, can we throw this in the trash, or break it into a million pieces and bury it in the woods, or burn it, or like, I was like, this is not staying in the fucking house. Like, we're getting rid of this. And I don't want to saddle some poor little girl with it. And she was like, and then I found out she hung it in her room, like over on the wall, like buried in her scarf, so I wouldn't see it because I never really went to my parents. Well, I found out, right? So of course I have to, I'm like, fucking shit, dude. That doll is right by my parents' bed. It's going to murder them in the middle of the night. They don't know how to protect themselves. It's going to murder them. So I snuck into my parents' room in the middle of the night, and I started taking it down. And of course, they fucking woke up and caught me. And then they moved it into the closet and rinse and repeat, because I snuck into their room again. And then finally, my mom took it down and put it away somewhere, and they wouldn't tell me where it was. They were like, oh, we got rid of it. And then a couple years later, I found out that they put it in the basement, like a storage bin, which they didn't tell me at the time. And by then I was like, yeah, whatever, because it'd been a few years, and I was like, oh, I'm an older kid now. I don't believe in haunted dolls. And whatever, like, it was farther removed. I wasn't as emotionally invested in it. Anyways, so this doll stays in the room, right? And eventually in like middle school, like 6th grade, I moved from the upstairs to the basement, which by the way was very creepy and filled with taxidermy. Okay, this is just the tip of the iceberg, people. The basement was filled with taxidermy, but that's a whole fucking other story. Anyways, very creepy basement. I was the only one that lived down there. And my room was attached to the storage room, and it had a door to get to the storage room, which was a creepy storage room, by the way. And I didn't like it. I never liked it, even when I was in high school. And so at this point in the story, I'm in high school, right? Literally have not thought about the doll in years. Not a spare thought, okay? But I am creeped out by the basement and the storage room, so I don't ever feel at ease down there. But I'm getting ready for school one morning in my bathroom, which has the door to the storage room, and I fucking hear like a and then like a and then I'm freaking out and I'm listening. My ears are perked and I hear like this really halting rhythm that sounded like porcelain on concrete. And I just about lost my mind. I flipped out. I ran upstairs, and 2 days later, I got my friend to go down with me into the storage room and look with me because I was too scared to do it myself, even though I was a full-grown teenager. And the fucking box that the doll was kept in, which was one of those plastic totes, the lid was ajar and to the side. Nobody ever went into that storage room. I certainly freaking avoided it, and I kind of lost my mind a little bit. I started stuffing towels underneath my doors and like locking all of my doors all the time in my room and bathroom. And then eventually I worked up the courage with my friend again to take the doll out of the box and go to Goodwill and donate her because I was too scared to like throw her away because my parents would probably see and then they'd get mad at me, or like destroy her because I thought that it would like wreak retribution on me if I did something like that. So maybe I passed a haunted doll onto some poor unsuspecting victim by donating it. Or, you know, there's people who are into that. Like, there's people who want haunted dolls. Or I just came up with all that shit because I was a very imaginative child. And, yeah.
The story of Jean Dulac and his evil doll. So in the early 1900s, Jean Dulac was one of the most famous ventriloquists in all of vaudeville. His doll not only looked like it was speaking on its own, but it appeared to move on its own and also had a voice completely different from Jean's. This confused a lot of his fans, but they mostly chalked it up to his talent. But others felt there was something slightly sinister about the doll. Reports said the doll was sometimes caught speaking even when it wasn't on Jean's hand. Missy Waters, a vaudevillian dancer and Jean's lover, claimed that one night she walked into Jean's room to find the doll off of his hand and Jean on the other side of the room curled up in a ball crying. She said a voice was coming from the doll speaking Latin, and it clearly was not Jean. The more Jean used the doll, the sicker he got too, and within a few years of his success, he was on his deathbed. And apparently right before he died, he asked to make a call to Missy. According to her, on that phone call, Jean said it was the devil inside of the doll. He said that he had bought the doll off a man traveling through town with the understanding that if he let the devil live inside the doll, he would have all the fame and fortune he desired. His last words were, "Do not let anyone have this doll after I die." The whereabouts of the doll are currently unknown.
So dolls are supposed to be super cute and innocent, but some dolls are not as cute and or innocent as they pretend to be. Let's get right into this Reddit Let's Not Meet story time that I came across. It is called My Grandmother's Doll. When I was 6 years old, my grandmother gave me a doll for my birthday. It wasn't just a doll, it was old. The kind of old that make you wonder how many hands it's passed through. It came in a small wooden box lined with red velvet. My grandmother said that it had belonged to a little girl from her church who passed away decades ago. She smiled as she said, she always wanted another little girl to love her doll. Now she has you. At the time, I didn't think anything of it. To a 6-year-old, a gift is a gift. The doll had pale porcelain skin, glossy blue eyes, and dark brown curls. Its dress was old-fashioned, trimmed with lace. It even had tiny shoes made of real leather. I named her Aurora. From the day Aurora enters our home, something changed. At first, it was little things. My toys would be rearranged. My parents thought I did it. My mom would wake up one night and find Aurora sitting somewhere different, on the kitchen table, on the stairs, once even in my parents' bedrooms. My dad blamed me, but I was terrified. I'd tell them I didn't move her, she moved at nighttime. They'd just laugh and said, "You've been watching too many scary shows." Then came this scratching. It started in my bedroom walls, slow dragging scratches that moved behind my headboard. One night I swore I heard whispering, so I ran to my parents' bedroom crying. My mom said it was the wind, but all windows were sealed. As the weeks passed, my mom began having nightmares. She said that she kept dreaming about a little girl standing at the foot of her bed holding Aurora. The little girl would whisper, "She's mine, she's mine, she's mine." My dad started sleeping downstairs after he woke up one night with what looks like long scratch marks down his chest. He says that he felt something crawling across him, cold and heavy, but when he turned the light on, there was nothing there except for Aurora sitting upright on the dresser staring at him. Our dog Max, stopped going near my room. He'd growl and whimp at the door. One night, he ran into my bedroom barking and then screamed, a sound I didn't even know dogs could make. We found him under my bed, trembling so hard he couldn't walk for hours. After that, he refused to sleep inside the house altogether. One night, I woke up to a sound of giggling, soft, distant, but still inside my room. I turned my head and there she was, Aurora, sitting upright on my chest. Her porcelain lips were smiling. I screamed so loud that my father ran in half-dressed, grabbed the doll, and threw it against the wall. It didn't even break. It simply rolled over and stopped by the closet. The same night, our smoke alarm went off, but there was no fire. The house filled with the smell of burning wood and old perfume. When the fire department arrived, they found nothing, but every photo we had of our family, every single one, had been slashed down the middle, right between my mother and I. My parents never said a word after that night. A few days later, we had a yard sale. They sold furniture, books, and a few of my toys. And right there, among the old things on the table, was Aurora. A woman with a little girl bought her for $5. My mom didn't even look at them when they left. She just said, "She's not our problem anymore." That night, our first time in months, our house was silent. No whispers, no scratches, no flickering of lights. It was over, or so we thought. I'm 27 now. I don't live in that house anymore, and my parents have since moved out of state. But 2 weeks ago, I received a strange message from Facebook. It was from someone I didn't know. They sent a photo. It was Aurora sitting on a fireplace mantle next to a Christmas stocking. The message says, "Hi, I think this doll used to be yours. Do you know anything about it? Strange things have been happening since I bought it a few years ago at a yard sale." I blocked the contact immediately. But last night, when I came home, there was a small wooden box sitting on my doorsteps. No return labels, no note, just a faint smell of old perfume and a single curl of dark brown hair pressed inside. If you ever find a porcelain doll at a yard sale, no matter how beautiful it looks, don't bring it home. Don't even touch it. Some things don't want to be loved, and some things remember who owned them, and Aurora never forgets. Talk to y'all later. I hope you guys enjoyed this story. So I've never been a huge fan of dolls, and I think I told this story before about when I had a doll in Haiti. I ended up ripping it apart, arms, legs, everything, head, and then buried it. And then I went back to the burying spot and I could not find the doll. So anyways, I've never been a fan of dolls, right? And also there are a lot of parts of my childhood, they're like not necessarily childhood, but you know how you remember just certain parts of your life because I don't know, like, you know, have you guys ever heard of the jumping into body concept? Well, I believe there's certain things that happened when I was a child that, you know, make me believe that I was like a spirit that jumped into a body at a certain age, and I'll have to get to that story eventually because I think I might be the only one. I will look online to see if I find other people talking about this because I remember a lot from that point on, but nothing before it. So anyways, I think there's a name for it. So anyways, I had this doll, and I couldn't tell you who gave me the doll, But I know I had this doll, and it was like one of those raggedy, and well, no, it was one of those Cabbage Patch dolls with the cloth body and the actual head of a doll, right? And those dolls, I always thought they were really, really ugly. Those Cabbage Patch dolls, I think that's what they're called. I felt like that doll had something in it, and or that doll was coming for me. That doll was coming for me when I tell you, and no one else could ever experience it except for me. I don't know if it's because I'm more spiritually more sensitive than other people, because I told the story about when I used to see my childhood friend who had special needs. He passed away, and I was seeing him in like the woods and everything. Anyways, so I remember I could not sleep. I could never sleep, mainly because too I went through so much trauma as a child, because I think I was about maybe, hold on. I think I was about maybe 3 years old when I saw a first dead body, and it ended up being in the house with me for over 10 hours and everything. And then I saw my godmom died. I was like there when she took her last breath. It was just a lot. But I feel like I was going through a whole lot with this doll. So then one time I just woke up without anybody saying, and I think I was maybe like 5, 6. I ripped the doll apart and pulled the legs, pulled the arms, pulled the hair, pulled the head, and then buried it. And then the only thing I remembered from there is I went to sleep. I don't know if it happened in my dreams or what happened, but I went to sleep, and when I woke up, I went to go look for the doll. I knew there was a spot where I buried the doll, but I could not find the doll. And also, I could not remember everything that happened prior to me deciding to rip the doll apart. Like, it's almost like everything else went blank. And I ripped the doll apart, and then I buried the doll, went to sleep, took a nap. It was during the day. Took a nap. When I woke up, went to the spot where the doll was buried. Could not find the doll. Until this day, I could never find this damn doll ever, ever, ever again. So I don't know if it's because it all happened in my dreams, and when I went back to the spot, the doll was not there, because I never actually buried the doll in real life. But how can you explain the doll just disappearing and I can never find it again? It's like this story in my head that's very vague, but everyone that I know that knew me around that age knew that I had this doll. And they also knew that this doll disappeared and they never find it again. And I could tell anyone who knew me at the time, who asked me about the doll, that I cut the doll up and buried the doll. But I could never find that spot where I buried the doll. I could never find the doll ever again, and the doll never showed back up again. So I don't know. There was definitely somewhere with the doll, because I knew that I could not take this doll. I could not take the damn doll. So I ended up ripping it apart. But also, I cannot explain what happened prior to this, to me deciding, because I was a very good child. I mean, not to brag, but I was told that I was the best child. Yes, I cried a whole lot. I cried a whole lot as a baby, but I was a good child. I was kind of spoiled too, but I was a good child. So I was not like one of those, Hey guys, I'm Jenny, and this is Shameless Plug. So I want to tell you guys about my Crown of Success manifestation book with easy, simple rituals and spells to manifest a life of abundance in your life. And those spells are so easy, even a child can do it. So this book is filled with different spells that I've learned over the years from my family, passed down from grandma and everything. And also those are spells that I've actually tried and I know that they work. So this book not only teach you step by step on the things that you can do that are so easy that a child can do it, but it tells you like the proper moon phase to use, alchemy, manifesting with numbers, numerology, and also the days of the week that best fit for this particular spell. So it tells you the timing of when to practice the spell, the days of the week, the moon phase. It shows you all the colors of the candles that you should be using and different planets. So for example, it shows you like planet Jupiter is for Thursdays and the hours of the days that you should be doing the spell. So this is an easy road opener spell. So I know a lot of people like to do like different spell work, but if your roads are blocked, of course your spells are not going to work. So it's good to unblock yourself first and then start using the spell, especially with the new years and the new days to come. And also I have some amazing spells in here. This is a powerful quick money spell. So if you're in a bind for some money and you're just trying to get some money, And I even have some easy, powerful spell to win Game of Chance. So if you are a gambler, now I don't promote gambling, but if you are a gambler and you're just trying to make some money and trying to make sure you win, these spells will definitely help you. It tells you the best days to do it. So it says the best days to perform this spell is on a Thursday, Jupiter day. Jupiter is the planet of good fortune, luck, and expansion. Jupiter is the best day to perform spells that boost luck and increase your chance of success in any game of chance or any money spell, period. It has a list of so many spells that you can incorporate in your life with this new year to bring prosperity. And I even put some bonus spells on here, which for Saturday is a day to do like protection work. So I have a spell for like send back to senders. So I put some bonus spells on here, and then a protection with Archangel Michael. So there's so many spells on here. Removing the evil eye spell, so you can remove evil eye in your money and also in your everyday life. New Year home blessing spell, and I know it's been a few days since the new year started, but you can always do a home blessing spell any days of the week. As long as you need it, you could do it. So anyways, guys, this is my book. It's called Crown of Success by Jenny, and it's available on Amazon, the ebook and also the physical copying. So please grab a copy if you're interested in supporting this channel. This is a way to support the channel and to support me as well for putting out, you know, content every day for you guys to enjoy. So I hope you guys enjoyed this book, and I hope you go and grab your copy, whether it's the ebook or the physical copy. I say have a physical copy, but it's really up to how much, you know, your wallet and what you can afford. So anyways, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye. Mwah. This is a shameless plug, so just check out my channel, okay? Love you guys. Mwah.